the Baen Free Radio Hour.
Hello and welcome to the Baen Free Radio Hour. Today we bring you the first half of Griffin Barber's interview of Baen's summer lineup of fantasy authors, where we have Wen Spencer, Kacey Ezell, A.C. Haskins, Marisa Wolf, and Melissa Olthoff speaking to us about their amazing novels that you're sure to go feral for. Indeed, we've had so much fun we had to split the show in two. After that, we bring you part 12 of the serialization of Mark Van Name's John and Lobo novel, One Jump Ahead. Hello and welcome to the Baen Free Radio Hour. I'm your host, Griffin Barber, and on this episode, we've got an all-feral group of authors lined up to entertain and delight. If not our audience, then at least each other. In order of publication in our Feral for Fantasy Summer, we have the first of our retired Air Force folks, Kacey Ezell, here to talk about Mage Light. Then we have the second of our Air Force folks.
They're forks. That's fine. They're forks.
Exactly. Yeah. Melissa Olthoff, here to talk up Rise from Ruin. Then we have Marisa Wolf, a teacher, here to talk about her book, A Plague of Magic, a teacher turned author now.
Sure, yeah.
There we go. And last, but most famously of all our feral authors, we have Wen Spencer, here to talk to us about Black Tie and Tales, the second in her urban fantasy series, Black Wolves of Boston. As my introductions are the least word on each of these fine feral authors, I would ask each of you to introduce yourselves to our audience. So let's start with you, Kacey.
Okay. Hi, my name's Kacey Ezell, and I write emotionally charged adventure, fantasy, and science fiction. And I am super excited to be here, super excited to bring Mage Light to the world, and yeah, really looking forward to a good time.
Very cool. And Melissa?
Hey, I'm Melissa Olthoff. I write sci-fi and fantasy, and I always sneak in romance because I write what I love to read, and I am so feral for all of these books and super excited to talk about all the things.
Cool. And Marisa?
Hi, I am Marisa Wolf. I write science fiction and fantasy that ends with hope, no matter how tricky the circumstances get along the way. I have already cackled 3 times in the several minutes since we started, so I anticipate a good time ahead.
Cool. And Wen?
Hi, I'm Wen Spencer. Am I getting picked up on the microphone? Okay. Hi, I'm Wen Spencer, and I write fantasy, and I always go overboard on characters because I just love them to pieces, and they often run amok and out of control. So I also write very long.
I know what you're talking about.
This is the second book of the Black Wolves in Boston.
So in reverse order then, since we just got to hear a little bit from Wen, I'd like to hear more. What's the coolest thing about the Black Tails and for you? What's Black Ties and Tails? Thank you.
I'm going to get it wrong too, because for a long time I thought the phrase was black ties and tails. So, and then I finally looked it up and went, oops, well, we should get this right. But I'll continue saying it wrong. I think
my dyslexia murders me on it.
Yes.
So either one goes in front of it. I don't know.
Yeah. So what I really like is all the side characters. I don't put a limit on the characters I get to explore. So in this book, I have Francis, who's a power, which means he's basically God's power in flesh. And he has PSTT, and he likes to wear fur suits. So he's like this little nuclear warhead in goat suit or a reindeer or whatever happens to be the character of the day. And
That's amazing.
And another one is a South American rock hopper penguin who's actually a swan maiden. Who needs help from our good guys. And then there's an entire collection of kids to go through high school with our main character Joshua, who are all the goths, who all have special abilities. And I just had a blast with them.
It's
So
not
much
their
things I
special
like.
ability isn't to just look upon you with disdain
That's natural. Yeah.
I mean,
while
that
having
too,
while having a
right?
clove cigarette.
Yeah. Oh, the cloves.
Through the power of pretension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And disdain.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
we're all speaking from experience, not because we're trying to denigrate something we don't know anything about.
Mhm.
Right, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But
Mm.
it's
A lot
they're
of black
kind
in
of
my
like
wardrobe.
the Scooby Gang with Joshua the werewolf being, Scooby.
Mhm.
Ruh-roh?
Wow.
Great.
Oh, that's
So,
so awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
So then, Marisa, your novel comes out at the same time as Black Tie and Tails.
Yeah.
A Plague of Magic comes out at the same time. That's cool.
Yeah. I
Oh,
have to say, in Wen's book, if she didn't mention the penguins, I was going to because I cackled whenever about like also penguins. I was like, yes. Oh, I love it. Yes. So Plague of Magic. Um, I mean, I feel like the coolest parts are laid out in the three lines on the front cover, which is a big score, a little dragon, and a whole lot of trouble. I will add that the little dragon is the angriest little dragon that I have ever experienced.
he's
He real
definitely got
mad.
he's definitely got anger issues.
He is not pleased about literally any of the events in the book, and he wants you to know it. So
So, Melissa, Rise from Ruin comes out in June, right?
Yes. Honestly, for me, the coolest thing about it was getting to play with like the Dragon Rider and Griffin concept, but Felix, my Griffin, is just my favorite. He is so sassy when he is young, and then he grows into this sarcastic teenager character, and he is a blast to play around with because he tends to lighten the mood a little bit when things get a little dark.
Got to have that.
Well,
Yeah.
And Casey?
So I have a politically correct answer and a non-politically correct answer to this question.
okay.
Or maybe I should say family friendly, non-family friendly. So the family friendly answer to the coolest thing about Mage Light is honestly, I think it's sort of the theme of having to grow up and own your choices, right? Because that's something that we all as humans end up having to go through. And so I think that's a pretty universal experience that I think people are going to enjoy reading about. The non-family friendly favorite piece of Mage Light is the sexy men. Yeah, there's three very hot, very competent dudes in Mage Light, and I really really enjoyed writing them. They were so much fun to get to know and to bring to life. So yeah.
I would also like to add the sexiest drink of water I have ever
Yeah, and the sexiest drink of water scene. Yeah. So
And that leads into our next question, which is quite well, which is some of you have read each other's work. This most current work that's about to come out. Some of you have read them in various stages, indeed.
Sure.
And like from the idea one and then discuss them amongst each other. So anyone want to say anything about what's coolest about someone else's cool book that they wrote that they're not really talking about? Because for me, it's already been mentioned. Wen's penguins.
The penguins.
Yeah.
They're where
Everybody
penguins?
who's looked at it,
Penguins.
everybody who's looked at the book has read the book is like, yeah, and there's these penguins.
I love them.
I gotta say, when I was sitting down with Tony and she was going over the Bane Roadshow stuff with me, when I got to do it for Mid South Con, she was like, and Melissa, this is very important. Penguins. You have to mention the penguins. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna mention the penguins.
I'm mentioning the penguins.
Yeah. So it's funny that you asked that because literally I was just saying before we started recording, Wen's the first book in Wen's series, The Black Wolves of Boston, is literally, I'm starting it tonight. It's at the very top of my TBR, and I'm so excited so that I can get to read Black Tie and Tails and find out what the deal is with these penguins.
I love them.
I need to
Yes.
know.
Yes. And the Goths.
And the goths.
So excited.
Yeah, and the teenage werewolf. Honestly, it's like I love the teen werewolves trope. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I blame, 1980s Michael J. Fox for that, but
Yeah. I also watched the Teen
yeah.
Wolf in the 2000s. No regrets.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm super excited to read it.
How about you, Marisa?
Okay. Well, I read both Mage Light and Rise from Ruin as they were being written, and then again when they were finished. So, in order of publication, I will say the thing that you need to know about Mage Light that is one of the coolest things, but there are so many, is not only are you getting some like real fun sword and sorcery adventure fun, like there's just action and then more action and then more action. You also get for real character growth. So yes, the men are sexy and competent and wonderful. Yay. Alis, the main character, goes from the dish raggiest of humans who has been told her whole life, you are basically a waste. You exist to breed more people for your family. The end. This is not a spoiler. You will know this right away when you meet Alis. This is all she's ever been told. And then you watch as she decides to not believe that anymore. And then she grows, but she grows realistically. So there's still some backsliding, there's still some whatever. It's like, it is like at the end, I was punching the air while I was reading, which is very awkward because my laptop was on my lap. But like, this book is right next to me
Oh, I'm so jealous.
on my desk. I also just threw a dragon on the ground. So that's how you know how much I love it. I'm gonna read it again. It's so good. So love character growth, love authentic character growth, love when it happens through fun adventures, and then also there are hot guys who are really good at what they do. And then Melissa's book, I sold this book all weekend, so this is very top of mind for me. For Melissa's book, a thing that I would like you to know, and then I'll tell you the thing I want you to know. A thing is that I laughed, I cried, I cursed at her in all caps multiple times, and then I did it all again on purpose when she was done. Like what? What? I will read it again. Oh, also,
And you did it again for my husband because he was sad that he missed it.
yes, I did. I re-ranted at her. And I also have that right next to me. And I soon, Griffin said he's going to send me Wen's so I can soon stroke that on the internet also. Very excited. So the other thing you should know about Melissa's
Marissa's OnlyFans where the books get stroked.
Just me and my fat dragon just getting books to fit. Please sponsor us so I can have more dragons.
Marissa's hoard.
I mean, she does have a hoard.
Girl
Like,
has a hoard,
does.
man.
Yeah.
Help me buy more things for my hoard. Anyway, so the thing you should know about Melissa's book is if you trained your whole life for one thing, and then right when it was in your reach, you had trained, you had worked your butt off, you went for it with everything you had, and you had won, you were getting it. And then your three idiot best friends pull a prank at the exact wrong time or right time. And now your life is something entirely different than when you planned. And oh, by the way, you're soul bonded. So you're not even sad about it. But you really have to recover and come back. This book ruined me. I will keep using that. It was not a pun when I first said it because that wasn't the title. Let it ruin you too. You will not be sorry.
Yeah.
I love you.
I would
That's my
also,
dragons.
yes, I would also like to weigh in on Rise from Ruin because there is a very popular fantasy series out there that features dragons and a military academy environment. And I read it and I thought it was very fun. I enjoyed the story very much.
Very page-turny.
However, very page-turny, yes. However, I will tell you, as a graduate of the class of 1999 of the United States Air Force Academy, Melissa's academy environment is spot on. It's exactly how it's going to be. So there are no inconsistencies of that nature that are going to throw you out of the story, right? I served as an aviator, a professional military aviator for 23 years. There are no inconsistencies in Melissa's story about the organization, about the way that the writers speak with each other, about the way that they interface with each other and with ground forces. all of those things ring true. So for you military fantasy fans out there, this is your girl. This is the, if you only buy one book, well, you should buy all of our books
Buy
for
all of
sure.
them.
But
We all
but buy Melissa's first,
course.
because this book is going to be to, and I can't take credit for this this statement because I think Marisa said it first, but this book is going to be to this rising generation of readers what Anne McCaffrey's Pern was to at least 3, and I suspect 4 of the authors in this chat right now. So
Yeah. Make me cry. Don't do that.
you're welcome.
It's a damn fine novel.
Yes,
And-
when we were
Yeah, it's
at
very good.
Dragon Con, we got to bond over Pern
Yeah.
because we all had written Pern fanfic.
That's right.
I mean, for years and years. So,
Yeah.
and it was very fun. I had a lot of good memories when I came home of being able to hang out and talk and go, oh, wow, this
Yeah.
next generation is exactly what I would hope it to be.
Oh, Wen. You
Oh,
were
thanks,
the
Wen.
highlight of my Dragon Con. Like, I kept
That was
telling everybody,
really fun.
it's like, I got to talk Pern fanfic with Wen Spencer.
And I, you know,
I might agree.
having known Kacey the longest of all of you, I can say that, yeah, that even from day one to hanging out with her at LibertyCon, her talking about, yeah, you know, Pern, Anne McCaffrey,
Yeah.
you know, nailed it.
My introduction kind of goes like this. It's like, hi, my name's Kacey. I'm a pilot, and also I really love dragons, particularly the Dragon Riders of Pern. That's like how people meet me.
I mean, I have heard you literally say I was a pilot because I couldn't become a dragon rider. And then, like,
Joined the Air
Yeah.
Force because I was real disappointed that I could not be a Green Dragon Rider. Like,
That's right. Yeah. Learn to fly because it was as close as I could get.
right.
100%.
Yep.
100%. And that's what Rise from Ruin is going to do for you know, people reading it now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to reignite those dreams of flight, of service, of camaraderie, all the
Oh,
things,
camaraderie,
all the best
especially.
parts
Of writing.
serving in the
Yeah.
military.
One of the things on that for me was the writing is also extremely.
Yeah.
And one of the, you
She's
know,
all right.
yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Fine.
We're just
I
we're
think
gonna
you
see
mean force
how
writing.
much we can make the gal with red hair blush.
My face is so red right now. You guys.
Woo.
But the coolest thing about and again, I wasn't lucky enough to be able to edit Kacey or Wen's book, but the coolest thing about what I have read from them, the excerpts that I read from them, is that all of them have just amazing female characters. If not the lead, then certainly amazing female characters. And you know, everybody talks a big game about, you know, these characters, this, that, and the other. I know these authors as individuals, and they're amazing female characters. They're of amazing characters.
Emphasis on the character.
Of amazing
We
characters.
cosplay ourselves. It's fine.
But it's, you know, and it's reflected in the fiction, right? And the fun stories that you're telling. So I'm exactly what Wen said. Every time I come home from a convention after hanging out with you guys, or just, you know, interacting with you online, I come away much more positive than I entered into it. So
Here to help.
I'm excited about that. And you know, as dark as some of these novels get, I'm looking at you, Marisa. They are. There's still that hope at the end of it, which is a staple of Bane fiction. You know,
Yeah.
no matter how dark or bad things get, there's going to be someone that's going to be holding open the door for the light to come in and shed itself on everybody. So, really mad respect for everybody for what they've done here, and this sequence of books that, you know, through Tony's kind of looking at over the horizon and going, hey, yeah, these are the things that we need to do, and these are the people to do it. We have this amazing feral lineup that everybody's really excited to bring forth. We also should mention Aaron Haskins as a member of this crew. Wasn't able
They're
to join us.
honorary dude.
Yeah, wasn't able to join us this evening. But he also has Blood and Fate, which is the second in his Soldier of the Arcanum series, which is an amazing book. I was able to get an early read on it and give some editorial on it, and his grasp of fae and fantasy and that urban fantasy in that Dresden kind of fashion, but with a whole lot better, uh, how to say it, tactical acumen. His shootouts are impressive. Like they're,
Yeah.
and I was a cop for 20 years, and I know how to present a pistol, and this guy breaks it down so well, and without interfering with the flow of the narrative and the action of the sequence. It's really, really impressive. And then you got all this cool, he's fighting with Jupiter and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of really neat stuff going on in those books as well. In that book, that second book in particular.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Aaron's series is the kind of what you alluded to. It's the juxtaposition of, the very modern firearms, obviously related, the narrative related by an expert, by somebody who sees the art piece of the martial art of shooting, right?
Right.
And the mix of that and the very cool perspective on, ancient mythologies, and the way that Aaron is able to weave those multiple elements together. I think that's probably the coolest thing about his series that I found.
There's a great sequence in this one where he's, someone gets the drop on him with their magic, and he's like, "Oh well, you should have come with a pistol." Yeah, that kind of thing. It's in the first book actually as well. There's like, yeah, you may have got the drop on me with your magic. Oh darn! And now I'm gonna, present a pistol, and what are you gonna do about that? Oh damn, kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable for that as well. And it's one of the coolest experiences for Bane readers in particular is that they expect a certain level of authenticity, right? In their fiction, science fiction or fantasy, they're going to want some kind of level of realism, and that expectation is met by all of your books. One of the things that I commented on when I was reading the coolest thing for me about Marisa's book, A Plague of Magic, was she walks in and she's with basically a supernatural cop in their or secret police, really supernatural secret police, and they go in there talking to a bartender, and they feed this bartender a line of BS about why they're there, and he's like, "Please, would you stop with the BS and just tell me what you want to know instead of?" And I was like, it pulled all the triggers for me because that is how if somebody's an actual informant for you and has actually been an informant before, they don't need any line of BS about some cover story for it. They just they'll want to tell you, either they're going to tell you or they're not going to tell you. And oftentimes, if they can get a little dig in on you because you're, an authority figure, they will. And I was like, this is such a cool scene, and so realistic to my experience. So I really enjoyed that. Hey, and there he is.
Hey, we got an Aaron.
Yay.
Hey.
All right, everybody stop saying nice things about his book.
And time is soup, and I forgot it was Thursday.
Well, okay.
We were saying nice things. We were saying nice things, but now that you're here, we're going to flip it. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So we'll do a little retroactive thing on Aaron here. It's Aaron's an Army vet as opposed to an Air Force vet, and as you can tell possibly from his particular branch of the Army he was in, or what particular thing he did, might have something to do with armor or riding things or that kind of thing into combat.
Death before dismount.
Yeah.
There we go.
And we've already spoken a little bit about your book, Blood and Fate. I was just discussing it just now. But again, A.C. Haskins, also known as Aaron Haskins, is the author of Blood and Fate. It's the second in his Soldier of the Arcanum series. And I've asked everybody else, and I'll ask you now, Aaron, what for you is the coolest thing in Blood and Fate?
going to sound really geeky, but the chapter that goes into the weird philosophical, what is fate, what is reality, trippy nonsense thing. That was the most fun to write.
Nice.
So, and it is a cool exploration of what is reality and what
Second
does it mean.
second is when he shoots Black Annis in the face with a shotgun, but
I mean,
that's the most fun.
sure.
Or the 4-chapter zombie battle. That was also pretty fun.
Yeah, that zombie battle is pretty intense.
Awesome.
I would say write what you know, but that wasn't exactly what was going on. But the characters in there are very familiar to Aaron and from his time on the range, I think, right?
Mhm.
So we've already done all that kind of stuff. But Aaron, if you want to give us a brief introduction to yourself, that would be appreciated.
Yeah. So Aaron Haskins, AC Haskins, West Point grad, Army vet, turned economist and general data geek. And then got laid off about 2 weeks ago. So that kind of brings you up to speed.
All right.
Dude.
That kind of year.
Yeah, it happens. But no, I'm not super worried about it. I've already had a couple interviews and
Nice.
but yeah,
Buy
been
Aaron's
writing
book.
for
Yeah.
6 years
That's
now,
right.
I guess, since Chris Smith invited me to join him on a short for Michael Z. Williamson's anthology, and kind of goes from there. It's a fun hobby.
Cool.
I have a history major specializing in medieval and pre-medieval Irish history, and didn't really have anything else to do with it, so fantasy stories seemed appropriate.
Well, it certainly informs the work, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So what I asked everybody else, have you read any of the other novels that are out from these authors?
Me?
Yes.
I
I have
don't
not
feel like Aaron.
Specifically
Yeah.
the
I
ones
mean, I've read
coming
some of
out.
Casey's
Yeah.
previous stuff, but not
Yeah.
what we're talking about this summer, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron's got like 9 priorities at any given time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Melissa?
I would like to say some things about the cool things I read with Plague of Magic and Mage Light, because I also was super lucky and got to read these as they were being written, and then again and again. I think I'm on my 3rd reread of both of them because who am I? So with A Plague of Magic, one of my favorite things is when a side character
Oh,
decides that he is not going to be a little tiny blurb.
Mhm.
That
Co-sign on this one.
scene with Degore is fire. Like, I loved how Marisa took what was supposed to be a background minor character, and now he is just so important to the story and to the future of Seema, the main character story. I love that. I love that you brought him to life in such a short little scene.
Yeah.
And I believe there was something about Griffin fanning his face in Lady.
So one of my editorial notes to Marisa was to guess at that scene was I fanned myself in Lady, because it's very well executed. It really is a neat scene, and I understood in a moment why it was that this was going to be successful, and I think it will for multiple audiences for different reasons.
Thanks,
I would
guys.
also,
And it's just
I'm not
it's just
done.
so elegant. But you're gonna move on, and I want to talk about Degore too.
Oh no. Yes, you talk about Degore, and then I will
All
say something.
Degore's women want to know
Yes.
more about Degore.
Degore is
That's right,
pretty
that's
great.
right.
Yeah.
Team Degore.
Hashtag Team Degore. To your point though, Griffin, about how well executed it was. It's just such a tiny little blip in the whole book, and yet you come away from that. It's just such a testament to Marisa's skill as a creator of character, to be able to read this and like, I want to know more about this dude. I know I'm gonna see more about this dude, right? And it's just flawlessly executed, and that was one of my impressions when I read Plague of Magic as well, was just how good. And he's not the only character that's like that, right? Like, you know who these people are, and you care about them immediately. It's these people become your friends, and
Nice.
the things that happen to them can hurt.
Yes,
Even though
Marisa,
it ends in
it
hope.
hurts.
Even though it ends in hope, Marisa will, in fact, tear the heart right out of your chest, Indiana Jones style, in the course of this story. So
Yep.
consider.
Which
But
ties
it's so
in
good.
so well with what I wanted to say, which was there was also yelling in all caps from me to this lovely lady because, oh my God, I lost track of how many times I cried. But, like Marisa said at the beginning, everything she writes ends in hope. And she
Yeah.
executed that so brilliantly because I do believe there was a little bit of nothing better happened to this character, or I'm going to like be very upset. And then there's hope. And I was very, very happy.
Yeah, without ever becoming like torture
Without
porn.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
never
torture.
It's not misery porn. Right.
Yeah.
No, it is very well done. And for Kacey with Mage Light
Oh wait,
outside of
before you go to Casey, because we need to spend time there. I just want to say it's like Wen said, the characters just run amok. They do what they want to do. Like
Yeah.
Decore wasn't going to be more than like the mob boss. Here he is, but he just kept showing up. Like the characters do what they want.
As a mob boss would.
And as they will. But most
Uh-huh.
of them, like I thought the story was going to go one way, the story went a whole other way. It's exactly like Wen said. I'm just going to keep following in her footsteps. Okay, let's talk about Casey.
So, outside of the sexiest drink of water scene, I would like to point out that all three men, like, yes, they're great, but they're competent. They are so competent at what they do, and they were very distinctive characters. It wasn't just, oh, here's dude 1, 2, and 3, and this one's blonde, and this one's brunette, and this one's like super morally gray, and I love him so much. It was, here's 3 distinct personalities, and like the bonds that you made between the 3 men, the bonds of brotherhood was chef's kiss
good.
right back to
Yeah.
you, girl, because
Thank you.
it was amazing. And I know Marisa already said this, but I'm gonna gush on it too, because Aelis's journey, like while it's still a work in progress as it should be, because this is not the only book, amazing. Because it's I hate that where like you take a character and you grow them too fast. It's not realistic and it throws you out of the story.
Yeah.
But Alis is picking herself up from rock bottom and doing it very, very well. So I love her so
Thank you.
much. And I am, by the
Thank
way,
you so much.
I am the target audience for Mage Light. Like I'm sharing it with all
Well,
of
yeah.
you. You're welcome.
So I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things that I should have mentioned when I talked about what else is cool about the book is that I genuinely think that, so I wrote this book for me, right? Because I'm a selfish individual and I wanted to read this story. So I am the target audience for Mage Light, but it's also like there are multiple pieces to me, right? I am a girl who loves a good romance in her story, but I'm also a girl who loves a good adventure, right? Where lots of things happen and there's lots of action. I'm a tabletop role-playing gamer, right? And I love to play role-playing games on video games. And this, you talked about how the dudes each have their own individual personalities. One of the things that I wanted to play with was this concept of what would a D&D adventuring party look like in this specific circumstances that these characters find themselves in. So that's part of the reason why, it's not hard to see. I mean, I literally have a warrior, a ranger, a thief, and then, Alis she's a sorceress, so she's a caster. It's a D&D party. So I think, my hope is that this book will not only appeal to women like me who like a good fantasy romance, but also to women like me who like a good adventure story, and men as well, obviously, but gamers like me who like fun party interactions and complex bonds that tie the individual pieces of the party together, and all of the dynamics that go into a group having to go through these extreme experiences over and over again, so that's my hope anyway.
I love it. One thing I'm gonna say, because I have not read The Black Wolves of London yet, but I'm about to, and I'm very excited. But I have read Boston. I said London. I live outside of Boston, you guys. It's fine. Everything's fine.
You're thinking of
Werewolves of London. It's fine.
werewolves.
I am thinking of
You
that.
can retrieve the whole thing by just sliding into your accent.
It's,
We're good.
you want me
Please
to
do.
talk like I'm from Boston? For
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
really?
Just drop into it, you know?
No, I have not had enough. I need Aaron's drink to do that. So thank you. However, I have read other books of Wen's. I have seen AC Haskins in action in other stories. And so one thing I can say, so however you identify, whatever your reading preferences are, a thing that is true in all of these books is neither the women nor the men are cardboard characters. So I hate, capital H, all caps. I hate a book where your protagonist is only good, strong, whatever, because the people around him or her, usually her, are just incompetent idiots and stupid,
Yeah.
and so therefore she's great. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it for the male characters too, when like all the women are just like, I'm strong, I'm female, I'm character. Like, get the F out of here. I hate it. So none of these people, and I am including myself because it is a point of pride for me, do that. So these are
And it's well
stories.
executed.
Yes, like if
Yeah.
you're a dude who's like, I don't know if I want to read a female protagonist, there are dudes in these stories too, and they are legit. And these are like women, not strong female character. And if you're a woman who's like, man, I don't know, this sounds like real dark and violent, you should see AC Haskins' take on a fae. Like, no, these are fun.
All
Like
of
these
my
are
characters
layered.
constantly surprise me with how smart they are.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They do things. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, damn, that was really smart of me.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good job,
Yes.
B.
Yeah.
So like
I
these are
had totally planned that from the beginning.
That's right. These are layered characters. These are trope breaking or trope supporting in a really fun way characters. Like this isn't like, oh, if I read this, I'm going to feel bad about my gender, whatever that might be. And nope. You might feel bad about magic, or you might feel bad about tragic deaths in war, or you might feel bad about plots and conspiracies. I don't know, but you're not going to feel bad that you're a dude or that you're a woman or whatever. You're not. Like you're just not, because the books are
Yeah.
not going to do that to you.
That's one of the
And
things.
none of these books are preachy about anything,
that's
right? You know, I mean, like
I don't know.
the
Aaron gets a little preachy about his holster.
There's some philosophy.
That's fair.
of the
That's fair.
holster.
Other than
Really like his
proselytizing for the
holster. There are
holster.
guns you should use and guns you should not use, and Quinn knows the difference.
It's
I'm
important to
sorry.
know that going in, I think. Yeah.
I'm
You
sorry,
should
we
prepare
we
yourself.
stepped on you, Wen?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say
Sorry,
one
Wen.
of the things I hated, there was a period of time, I think hopefully we're over it, where we had a strong woman and she would have 2 or 3 love interests and she would actively not like other women.
Oh, yeah.
She
Right.
was uncomfortable around being around other women. She would have no women friends. And I really disliked that. And I try very hard when I do write that, you know, women tend to have big support groups that they go to for emotional help and physical help. And it seemed to me if you're going to have a strong woman, she would have that gang behind her, that she would also help when they needed help, but she would also could call on them and go, hey, what do you know? You know, what's your level of expertise in this? And it's
Yeah.
not, I'm all by myself being superwoman.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
one of
for
the
sure.
that was one of the cool things that Aaron did too, was his guy is kind of capable of things that most people are not capable of, even within the sphere of the other sorcerers. And he takes more on himself than he should. It's much more of a in my reflection on it, he's more of a it does damage to himself because his self-image is such that I'm the only person who can handle this.
Yeah, that was the original concept behind Quinn, was like, what would the psychology be behind someone who, you know, who's done all these things and handle all these things. And like the first book was really just a psychological character study of Quinn with a murder mystery wrapping.
Right.
Whereas the second book is now more exploring beyond just him and the world that he inhabits, but his personal demons are still a big piece of it. But in terms of the supporting characters, I cardboard characters, one-dimensional characters bore me.
Yeah.
So I think off the top of my head, there are 5 women in the book, and of them, one of them kills a bunch of zombies. One of them is a semi-murderous fae maiden. One of them is actually God.
I mean, sure. No spoilers.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of them are helpless damsels, and none of them are just
One-dimensional.
the book doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but that's mostly because it's a first person perspective from a male character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I tried very hard to make the characters interesting at the very least.
I love it.
Yeah.
I also am just going to add, super unrelated to literally anything except like Kacey as a tabletop gamer, it is her fault that I play Dungeons and Dragons. And what I held up while she was talking was the bag of my very first own dice that I bought this week at con, all because of her. So I just like further evidence of her gaming love and infection.
So
Tiny math rocks.
I mentioned the 4-chapter zombie battle. 4 of the characters in that are real people. So
Nice.
it's Quinn is my main character, fake person, and then there's one other fake person, and then the other 4 people are all real friends of mine.
Nice.
And they're all firearms instructors. And because I just wanted, okay, if you're gonna have a zombie battle, have people who know how to shoot. So let's have fun with this.
Legit.
And I was at a shooting course with them actually out at Larry Correa's a couple of years ago, and we went to dinner, and I had them sit down around a notebook, and we essentially did a D&D session that turned into this 4-chapter zombie battle.
That's
So
awesome.
we were rolling dice, but it was like, all right, what are you doing in this
I have them,
scenario?
I'm ready.
All right, the zombie come through the window. What are you doing now? And okay, where's your character going to be? Yeah, all that. And yeah,
So you LARPed it.
It was a lot of fun.
You
to play
LARPed
that
the
out.
chapters. I love it. I love it.
My very first book series with Ukiah, Oregon, half the characters had been role-playing characters that from games we were from Stalking
so
the Night
fun.
Fantastic, which was a urban supernatural game where you were trying to find and eliminate supernatural and weird situations. None of the game itself actually made it into the book, but the characters kind of got lifted.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Very cool.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It's wild how things come full circle.
Mhm.
I know that one of the things they used to say to any budding fantasy author is don't under any circumstances take your characters and your campaign world and make it into a fiction, because it'll
Now
suck.
RPG is like the fastest growing genre.
I know. There's like
genre
Yeah.
of fantasy.
so much.
And
yeah.
now it's not even, don't even lift your characters. It's no, lift the whole thing. We
Take
want
the
all
whole
of it. Yes,
thing.
bring,
Just
do
bring
it,
it
do
to
it
us.
all.
Stats and everything.
Roll the
Yeah,
dice.
that's right.
Numbers go burr.
Bring the
Numbers go
players in. Why not?
And then, and it's being a game master for 40 plus years. I love this current moment where, we got mad respect for math rock tossing nerds. It's that's really cool
Yeah,
to
the
me.
shiny
Bring me
click-clack
your
math
extra
rocks
dice,
are-
friends. Bring them to me.
Marisa, as any new gamer is dying for more math rocks.
It's a
She
problem.
must have
Yeah.
more math rocks.
When I go to Dragon Con this year, I expect to have to be physically dragged out of the dealer hall. It's going to
They
be
are
a
like
problem.
jewels. She wrote a book about a treasure. You guys, this is not a hard connection here.
No,
Oh,
she wants
and-
shiny rocks.
And I assume you're going to have a signing at the booth, so you're actually going to be able to get in skipping the line too.
I know.
Just around the corner from the
Yeah,
Just- it's okay.
How dangerous.
10,000.
the Chess X booth is
Oh my
terrible.
gosh.
You guys, I've almost fallen victim to the shiny math rocks multiple times because I'm a goblin dragon creature at heart. I'm a magpie. Like, give me the shiny things. But every year I'm like, no, Marisa, you don't play Dungeons and Dragons. You don't need dice. But now I do.
Now you'll be out there going, hit me again.
Give me more.
Yeah, that's right.
These ones have things inside. One of them has a dragon inside it. You guys, like, I don't I didn't even know.
I actually backed a 5e based Irish mythology RPG on
Oh.
Kickstarter like 3 years ago, and it finally shipped like last month.
Ooh.
Nice.
So
Exciting.
I may be running a session at Liberty this year.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
cool.
I will be at
Ooh.
Liberty.
It's
I will
called
bring my
Heroes of
dice.
Tara, so Tara's already in.
And now, as promised, one jump ahead. John Moore is a nanotech-enhanced soldier of fortune. Lobo is an AI, a living weapons and intelligence platform of enormous destructive potential. Two very dangerous wolves in a galaxy of deadly corporate and paramilitary predators. But Moore has grown weary of the killing, and just once he'd like to finish the job without leaving a trail of blood behind him. Not going to happen. Not on a pristine planet called Mackin, where two gigantic corporations vie for control of the local jump gate and access to the riches of an undeveloped world. Dealing with a kidnapping and extortion scheme is only the beginning for Moore and Lobo as they work to stay one jump ahead.
He answered promptly. They're all in the camp now, and there is a great deal of activity. The recorder is excited by all the people gathering. It thinks it might get to work. The humans are huddling. Some are carrying weapons that are either entirely mechanical or not interested in talking to the other machines. The girl? As I explained earlier, Lobo said, all the information I have is from the IR scam. I believe she is in a tent on the far edge of the camp. I assume they are discussing what to do with you. He paused. Such amateurs. They should either surrender or take a chance at killing you quickly. It is too late to be holding a meeting. He was right, and I couldn't afford to let them shoot at me. The odds were low that they could hit something that nanomachines couldn't quickly fix, but I still saw no reason to take the chance. I also didn't want to risk giving them enough data that someone might later figure out what I was. I had to take control of the situation before anyone did something stupid. I needed them to feel completely out of their depth. Are they still all in a group? I asked Lobo. Yes. And the girl remains separate from them? As best I can tell, he said. Yes, I have warned you that I cannot be 100% positive. Your best estimate will have to do, I said. Does your surveillance drone have a spotlight? Of course, Lobo said. That is standard issue for conflict monitoring. Can you get the drone to hover under the canopy over the camp and hit its light on my command? What do you think? Doing that, however, will expose the drone to their fire. I could see this was going to be the start of a really annoying relationship. You'll have to take that chance, I said. Please have the drone move into position and then wait for my command to turn on its spotlight. I stepped behind a tree, grabbed more soil, and summoned another cloud, this one easily twice the size of the other. I spread it thinner and thinner until it was a gossamer grayness rippling gently in the light breeze. I focused instructions on it, then sent it to the camp. As it moved forward, a barely visible sheet floating in the air, I ran to the right and circled to the other side of the camp. When I could see the cloud enter the camp, I said to Lobo, have the drone hit the light. Bright white burst onto the camp. The nanomachine cloud broke into small clumps, each the size of a child's head, each clump headed for a weapon. Most of the men froze for a moment, then ran for cover. The clouds reached them, and their weapons began to dissolve. Some of the men screamed. Now they all ran, the clouds in pursuit of those whose guns were still intact. I saw only men. The girl wasn't in sight. In less than a minute, the camp appeared empty. Is the girl still in the tent? I said. As best I can tell, yes, Lobo answered. Are any of the gardeners heading back here? They have reformed into two groups, but both are heading away from you. Satisfied, I went to the tent. A girl, her hands and feet bound with plastic restraints, was sleeping inside. Time to go home, I said. She didn't react. I rolled her over. She was prettier than her pictures, with almond-shaped eyes set in perfect corporate skin, delicate bones, and a mane of night-black hair that was fanned out around her head. I checked her breathing. It was shallow but consistent. I opened one of her eyes, but she never focused. Drugged. Great. My knife cut the restraints easily enough. I picked her up, took her out of the tent, and looked around. Not far from the fire sat a small wheeled cart full of wood. I put her down, emptied the cart, loaded her carefully onto it, and headed back to Glenn's garden. As we neared the edge of town, she woke up for a moment and looked around in terror. When she realized where she was, she sat up quickly, then fell as the drugs carried the moment. Her eyes open but confused. "You're okay, Jasmine," I said. "I'm taking you back to Slake." I chided myself for my poor bedside manner. "To your father." "Thank you," she said, relaxing and closing her eyes. Her eyes snapped open again and she shook her head, the fear of the kidnapping apparently coming back. "My father!" Her voice trailed off as she passed out once more. The terror in her eyes lingered with me, and for a moment I wished I'd let myself get angry and punish the gardeners more. I pushed away that thought and focused instead on how glad I was that I decided to take this assignment. Most of the jobs I do these days amount to protecting something or some person as we move from one place to another. This time, I'd actually done some good. I picked up my pace so I could get her home sooner.
This has been the Bane Free Radio Hour. Thanks for joining us at the heart of science fiction. Join us next week for part 13 of One Jump Ahead by Mark Van Dame, and continuing our interview with feral fantasy authors Wen Spencer, Kacey Ezell, A.C. Haskins, Marisa Wolf, and Melissa Olthoff. Score by Ruth Judkowitz.